Hey YouTubers, it's DIYDan here. Today I'm going to show you how to change the oil and filter in your 4th generation Lexus GS350. The first thing we want to do is start up the car and warm up the oil. So I'm going to go ahead and let the car run here for a few minutes and then shut it off. Okay, now that we got the engine oil good and warmed up, the next thing we want to do is properly raise the car. And you can look in the owner's manual and they'll give you a couple of jack points, but there's also another one. And that is the inner frame rail, which is how I jacked my car by. So I went ahead and used a block of wood between my jack and the frame rail so it doesn't scratch any paint or anything that's on there. And then once I get the car jacked to the desired height, I always use a jack stand for safety, just in case if anything happens to the car jack, I'll be nice and safe. After you got the car jacked up, let's lift the hood. And loosen the oil cap to allow it to breathe when it drains. I'm just going to leave it loose like that. And then use your 14mm socket. Make sure you put your drain pan underneath there. And what you want to do is loosen that bolt right there. That's the drain pan bolt. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. While the oil's draining, now's a good time to clean off the drain pan bolt. While the oil's draining, now's a good time to remove the oil filter. And this is the oil filter cover, and there's 3 10mm bolts in order to remove that cover. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Once all the bolts are out on the oil filter cover, it should just pull right out, like so. And once you have that out, your oil should be done draining from the oil pan. So I'm going to go ahead and install my clean oil drain bolt and also a new gasket. So I'm going to go ahead and get that installed now. After you got your drain pan bolt and new seal installed, next thing you want to do is go ahead and tighten it to 30 foot-pounds. Now that we have the oil pan all buttoned up and the drain bolt tightened to the correct torque setting, now let's get the oil filter housing removed. And the first thing you want to do is remove this center seal right here. And what that'll allow, it will allow any of the oil that's in the oil filter housing to drain into our pan right here. And all you need is a simple ratchet, and you're going to use this to fit right inside there. So it should be a 3/8 ratchet. Okay, I got it good and loose. So I'm going to move my Okay, once we have the oil filter drain plug removed, next step we want to do is open up your oil filter box, and you should have gotten a little tool like this. And what this does is jam up inside where this oil drain plug was located at, and allows you to drain any residual oil that's left in the housing to make for a cleaner oil change. I don't know if you can see that in this picture, but right here's the housing. And right here's that plastic tool, and what that does is just go inside there. You push in there really hard and the oil will drain out really slow. Okay, once we have the oil filter housing drained full of oil, the next thing you want to do is use this SST tool to loosen the oil filter housing itself so we can get to the oil filter cartridge. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. When you position this tool, you want to make sure these tabs or these indentations line up with the tabs that are on either side of the oil filter housing. So I'm going to go ahead and insert it like so. And then the tabs are locked into the tool, and I'm going to go ahead and loosen this up. Now that we have the oil filter housing cap removed, next thing you want to do is just start cleaning it up. And if you look in your new oil filter, you should have came with a couple of seals, and what you want to do is take your new seal and put it right in this groove. So you have the new seal that sits right in that groove. Take a little oil and lube it. And the next thing you want to do is take this up, the smaller seal, and this is for the oil filter cartridge drain plug, and you want to take a little bit of oil on that as well. And take your tool and tighten everything until you feel it stop. And we take our new oil filter and we just slide it in like so. So now it's ready to install. And go ahead and tighten it down. As you're tightening it, you'll feel it stop or bottom out, and then give it a good snug and make sure it's tight, and you should be good to go. There's no reason for this to be 5,000 foot-pounds. Once you got the oil filter housing all tightened up, next thing you want to do is just clean up any residual oil around. Keep things nice and tidy and clean. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Now that we got everything buttoned up and cleaned, we want to install our cover. Just make these snug because this is a plastic housing. Now that we're finished with the underneath of the car, it's time to lower it. So we have to remove our jack stand. And slowly lower the car. Now that the car is lowered, it's time to start filling it with oil. So let's go ahead and remove this filler cap, oil fill cap, and put it in our funnel. If you have an all-wheel drive car, it should take 6.8 quarts if you replace the filter. If you have a two-wheel drive car, it should be 6.7 quarts. So I'm going to go ahead and fill mine up. And I'm going to go ahead and, since mine's an all-wheel drive car, I'm going to fill it up to 6.5 quarts and just see where I'm at and top off from there. Okay, I went ahead and put 6.5 quarts in like I said I would, and it's full on the dipstick, but we haven't started the car yet, so that means we haven't filled up the oil filter canister yet. So my wife's going to go ahead and start up the car, and we're going to let it run for a few minutes and then turn it off, and then after about 5 minutes of it sitting, I'm going to go ahead and check the level and top off from there. Go ahead and start it. Okay, the car's been sitting for about 5 minutes now, so all the oil that's been circulating through the engine has now drained back to the oil pan. But I just want to show you what the oil dipstick looks like. There's two dots, one there and one there, one indicating low and the other one indicating full. So I'm going to go ahead and insert this in there and see where we're at. Okay, I just pulled the dipstick out and we're about right in that mark right here. Almost halfway, not quite. So I'm going to go ahead and start topping it off with oil. I'm going to start topping it off. I'm only going to add a very little at a time because I don't want to overfill it. So as I add a little bit of oil, I'll just check the oil level, see where we're at. looks like we're almost there. So probably just a little bit more and we should be good. And we are good. And that's how you change the oil on a 4th generation Lexus GS350. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. Good luck, guys.